In this video, I want to talk about how to start having more compassion for yourself, how to start showing up for yourself in a caring way, and let go of all the judgment and criticism that you point towards yourself. So, I wanted to talk about this because today I was going on my walk and I realized how much my mindset and the way that I speak to myself has changed over the years, how much it has even changed throughout the past few months. In the past, when I, let's say, wouldn't follow through on a goal, or I would just be like even walking around like walking around life and just participating in activities and constantly judging myself for the way that I was showing up. I noticed a difference in my walk today, that I wasn't just constantly feeling down. I wasn't constantly just judging myself. I wasn't having all these negative thoughts and then kind of giving into them and following into the wormhole or the rabbit hole, whatever it's called. And whenever I would have, like, I was walking on my walk and I was just like thinking thoughts of gratitude. I was like, oh my God, I'm so grateful I can actually use my legs. I'm so grateful to be out here enjoying nature. I'm so grateful that this is the life I get to live, that I literally get to live a life on my own terms. I get to go outside, enjoy nature, move my body, and enjoy how resilient and strong it is. And that was not the way that I spoke to myself in the past. Those were not the thought patterns that I used to carry in the past. I used to have thoughts of constantly thinking about what is going to be going wrong, what's going wrong right now, what do I have to achieve in order to feel worthy enough, what do I have to do so that I can actually start enjoying life. I'm sure like everybody has thoughts about maybe the things that they have to achieve or the things that they have to do before they can actually allow themselves to feel happy. And I used to think that too. And it literally only clicked recently that I don't actually have to do any of those things to be worthy, to enjoy life, to feel happy. If I do them because I want to do them, because they would be fun to pursue. Like, even coming onto this YouTube channel and speaking to you guys, it's because I come on here and I enjoy talking with you and sharing these things that I'm learning with you and getting to know your feedback or your input on them. And if I do something else in my life, it's not coming from this place of wanting to do it so that I can feel worthy enough, so I can prove something to someone else, so I can feel happy. And a lot of the time I feel like when we pursue something, it's not necessarily because we want to pursue it. It can also cloud our judgment in whether we're actually pursuing it for the right reasons or not. We're not pursuing it to be in the moment with it, to enjoy it, to see if this is something that even aligns with us or not. We're doing it for other people a lot of the time. Another example of how I've seen this play out in my own life is just consistently going through my menstrual cycle and noticing how my mood shifts, how my thought patterns shift when I am in my menstrual and my luteal phase. When I'm in my luteal and menstrual phase, in the past, I would consistently judge myself for being tired, for my body asking for more rest. I would judge myself and criticize myself for just basic human needs. Like, my body was asking me for rest and it was asking me for more time just sitting and less movement, less thinking about the future, less planning. And I wouldn't listen to it in the past, and because of that I would judge myself. I'm like, oh, why do I consistently make this much progress and then I end up, oh my God, there's a bee. Okay, it left. And then I would end up like making progress, and then I end up like around this time in my cycle, because I want to rest and I want to take care of my body, I would start to feel bad for that. I would start to feel guilty for that. And then I would start judging myself. Like, why can't I be consistent? Why does this keep happening? There's something wrong with me. I'm broken, blah, 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 blah. All this chatter and all these stories that I would tell myself. And then in the past few cycles, I feel like it's been improving. My self-talk and the way I view myself and the way I view the situation has been improving slowly. It has been improving. And this last cycle, I noticed, was literally like the most compassionate I've ever spoken to myself. And I was just so happy and proud of myself, and I just felt so content and at ease and relaxed because I wasn't being mean to myself, because I wasn't just criticizing myself for taking care of my body. And in the past, I would have just been like, oh, like, why are you just like sleeping? Why are you just resting? Like, it's like this voice that's like kind of like yelling at you. That's how the voice was. But this time around, it was a voice that was more compassionate. It was like, oh, you need some rest. That's okay. Well, like, you know what time it is in your cycle. This is a time when your body needs more rest. So I think that you should take this time and focus on what your body needs. You have put in so much effort these past few weeks, and you, oh my god, the bee. Ah! Oh my god, I really don't like bees, guys. Ah! Oh my god, why did I leave the door open? There's a bee in the house. Fuck. Okay, so the bee hasn't left. He's up there with the light, but we are doing this video. If he attacks me, I'm gonna be so mad. But anyways, I don't even remember where I was. What was I saying? So just like in this past cycle, I started to notice how much taking care of myself and speaking to myself in a way that was more compassionate, speaking to myself like to my inner child, reparenting myself, and instead of feeling guilty for resting, instead of feeling guilty for taking time for myself to take care of myself, I started to actually feel good. I felt so taken care of, and I feel like this is what people talk about when they say that you need to reparent your inner child and speak to them with compassion instead of constantly criticizing and judging them, because maybe you got this pattern from your parents doing that to you when you were younger, from even your grandparents, anybody who was in your environment who was, their way of communicating with you or telling you to do something was in criticizing you, in judging you, and them thinking that that is the best way to give you feedback, or that is the best way to have a conversation. I know in my own family, a lot of the time, we only communicated in criticisms. Like, we didn't have moments of vulnerability. We didn't have moments where we actually just confronted each other or talked about things. It was literally us, even like regular conversations were not even a thing. We literally just constantly criticized each other. And I feel like we picked up on this from our parents, and then we started doing it with each other as siblings. And it was not healthy at all. Like, this is the way that we communicated, and we didn't even know how to have conversations. So even when I went out into the world and I would communicate with people, I thought that it was okay to communicate with people through criticizing them and make jokes, and that was my way of connecting with people. But it's like, there's no way to even connect with someone to criticize and judge them. Like, you're breaking the connection at that point. And when you break the connection and you're just judging and criticizing people, or even you're breaking the connection with yourself by judging and criticizing yourself, you're pretty much just living in a disconnected way, and you just feel lost. You feel like you're alone. And this is why you have to start reparenting yourself, speaking to yourself in a different way. And it took me a while to even get to this point. It took me a lot of inner work to get to this point, because I still didn't believe I was worthy to be spoken to in such a compassionate and loving and caring way still. Even after doing so much inner work, it took me so long to get to this point, but it doesn't really have to. It really depends on how much you are committed to it and where you are at in your life. It doesn't have to take as long for you as it did for me. That is just me, because I was going through trials and errors and noticing my patterns over time. But obviously, if you get this information from someone else and you are able to put it into practice faster, then you will see more results a little bit faster. But for me, it's like I went through trials and errors, and even though I was doing my inner work, it just felt like I couldn't really get myself to that point, because I just didn't feel worthy. And then not knowing about my attachment style did not help, because I didn't realize that a part of the fearful avoidant attachment is the fear of connection and also not feeling worthy. So those two things together literally are a part of this attachment style. And once I knew that, literally years after doing my inner work, I didn't realize that I had this attachment style. And once I realized this was the unworthiness, the feeling of unworthy, and the constant need to cut off the connection and to criticize people and to look for flaws in them was a part of this attachment style. Once I realized that, I knew how to shift the pattern. I knew what needed to be changed, and I stopped viewing myself as broken or as unworthy or that I can't do anything right. And once I realized that pattern, I started to shift it in that way. So I want you to know that you are not alone. If you feel like you are constantly criticizing yourself and judging yourself, and you just like, it feels almost like you can't catch a break, like you can't get, like at a point it feels like you just want to get away from that annoying ass mean ass voice in your head, and you just want to go and be somewhere else. And maybe that's why you escape through like maybe alcohol, through TV, through eating, like unhealthy eating patterns. You can escape in so many different ways. And if that voice in your head is so mean that you have to escape it and do other things to kind of numb yourself and not be fully present in your body, that's your cue to actually just sit down with yourself and be still and try to understand what's going on. Try to see the feelings that are coming up, sit with them. And that's when you actually need compassion, love, and care the most. That is when you need to sit with yourself and reparent yourself in the way that you wish your parents would have parented you. What do you wish they would have said to you in those moments when you didn't feel like doing anything, when you felt like you weren't good enough, when you wanted to share like a story and someone bullied you in school or something like that, like you shared something very deep and intimate with them? How would you have wanted them to react versus how did they actually react? Because the way they reacted to you, that you've taken upon now and you react towards yourself, you've gotten that from them. But you don't have to continue reacting to yourself in that way. You can choose another way that is more loving and more compassionate, because you are worthy of that. You are deserving of love, regardless of what you achieve in your life, regardless of what you have in your life. You are worthy of that. You get to feel good in your life and in your body. You don't have to be constantly walking around worrying that someone is gonna find something out about you that you're hiding, or that you're just not good enough, or that you're broken, or just constantly worrying about like everything. Constantly being in like a fight or flight state, not fully settling down into your seat, not fully getting to enjoy life, not fully getting to enjoy the things that are already happening for you that are so great, that other people wish they had, or that maybe you once wished you had, but once they came, you started to take them for granted and you started to just dismiss them and focus on to the next thing. Oh my God, I was recording and it was in slow motion, so I need to record what I was saying again. You have to know that you are always doing the best that you can in each moment. And you have to give everything that you have 100% to everything that you are doing, and know that you are doing your best, and that is that. You don't need to look back on yourself, your past self, and view it from this perspective of all the wisdom that you've maybe learned and all the lessons you've learned, and say, oh wow, it's weird that I made this choice, I dated this person, I took this path in my career, or did this and this and that in my choices, and think that it was a mistake, or think that you're not good enough, or think that maybe you should have done things differently, or you were not smart back then. Whatever it is, you need to stop judging and criticizing yourself from where you're at now and for the mistakes or the choices that you made, because it's easy to look from where you're at now. If you've done inner work and you have changed as a person and you've come to this point and you've learned lessons and you've learned what you like and what you don't like, it's easy to look back in hindsight with 20/20 vision and say, oh wow, like why did I do this? Why did I do that? Why did I date this person? Why did I take this career on? Why did I follow this path? It's easy to say that in hindsight, but you didn't know that at the time. You were always doing your best with the information and the resources that you have. And even if you knew something and you still didn't take action on it, you were not ready. You were not ready for it at that time. You did not have the capacity for it. Your nervous system would not have been able to handle it if you made that choice, so you made a different one. So just know that there are no mistakes for you to make. I honestly do not believe in mistakes. Every decision you make is either teaching you what you want or what you don't want. It's either showing you what you're aligned with or it's showing you what you don't want, what you are not aligned with. So there is no reason to beat up yourself. There is no reason to judge and criticize yourself for mistakes that you've made, for choices that you've made. There is no reason for any of that. Just know that you're always doing your best, and regardless of what choices you make, you will always end up where you are meant to be, because your body knows what it is ready for and what it is not ready for. So if you made a choice, even though you knew you wanted something different, just know that your body is working up the courage to get to that point. So just have compassion for yourself, that you are always learning, you are doing your best, and there are no mistakes to make. There is no failure here. So stop beating yourself up about it, and stop beating yourself up about not having enough compassion for yourself, because that is something I actually used to do too. It was like I beat up myself about small things and big things, and then I would start beating up myself about not being compassionate enough and not being loving enough towards myself. And I'm like, well, that's literally like what I would need to change. It's that whole thing of being like mean towards myself, judging and criticizing myself, and I'm doing it with the thing that I want to change it with. So you can start showing up in a way where you reparent yourself, speak to yourself with love and care. And if you do not know what that looks like, just imagine what you would have wanted your parent to speak to you like. What would you have wanted your parent when you made mistakes, when you didn't make the right choices, when something went wrong, or when you're sad? When you're just tired and you need rest, like how did you want your parents to react to that, to respond to that? What did you want them to say? What did you wish they would say to you? Instead of judging you and criticizing you, like, oh my God, you're just like lying on the couch again. Oh my God, you're so lazy. Not doing work again. Oh my gosh, you haven't done the dishes. Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. All these things, like the way they criticized you. Like start imagining what it would be like to have a parent who was saying the opposite of that. They're like, oh my gosh, you're feeling tired. Oh my God, you should just sit down and take some rest. You really need it. You've been working so hard this week. You really deserve this rest so that you can come back and focus on everything that you need to do even better and have more energy for that. But right now, your body really needs this rest and you deserve it. Like speaking to yourself from this place is so much more healing than criticizing yourself. A lot of the time we think that when we criticize ourselves, we're going to criticize our bodies into taking action and into not being tired, but we just end up feeling worse about ourselves, and we end up not wanting to do anything at all, and we just like feel even more drained, and we don't even want to sit here in this body and be here, and we want to escape by doing something else because the voice in our head is so mean. So just know that if you have this pattern, it is possible to change it, and it is possible to be more compassionate and loving towards yourself. The other point I had is try to understand your needs. What does your body need in each moment? Do you track your cycle as a woman if you have a cycle? Do you track it, and do you know that in your luteal phase you will be more tired and you will need more rest, and you don't need to be taking action all the time? Do you actually listen to your body and understand your needs so that you can actually be more compassionate and know when you need to? I know there's a lot of people online that are saying like, don't listen to your body because then your body's in control of you, and you need to actually just keep taking action and show up and do the thing when you don't feel like it. And I agree to that to a certain extent, because we are in a human body and there are certain things that our body needs from us in order to function properly. So I would say, start to get to know your body and your needs, and start to know your patterns. Start to get in touch with your feminine energy, get to know your menstrual cycle, so you can actually know when your body is tricking you and sabotaging you and telling you not to do something because you're procrastinating it, because you're afraid of what will come out of that, versus your body actually needing rest because your hormones are going through fluctuations and you just don't have the energy to do a certain thing at the moment. So I think it's really important to understand your body, your own needs, so that you know what to give your body in a certain moment, how to show yourself compassion, and know that if you're showing up in a certain way, you don't have to judge and criticize yourself for it. And even if you don't know those things, there is no reason for you to judge and criticize yourself. But knowing these things also helps show yourself grace and know that maybe your body is just tired right now. So like, it is not self-sabotage, and you just are in need of rest, in need of some peace, in need of some time alone. It's important to know these things. If you want to actually know a little bit more about your cycle, maybe this is the first time you're hearing about this, or maybe you have been meaning to write this down, or just haven't really had, like, you don't have the resources for it. I created a guide that I will leave in the description below that tells you what is going on through your body during different phases in your cycle, what kind of foods you can be eating in different phases in your cycle, what your moods will be like, what kind of activities should you take up, what kind of movements should you be involving your body in based on your hormones and your cycle and different phases in your cycle. So if you want to learn more about that, the link is in the description below. So that is everything that I have for you in this video. It was more of a conversational video. I just wanted to come on here and share this, and hopefully something that I shared resonated with you. And thank you so much for being here and for listening and for following through if you've got this far. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.